Hey, it's Brian, and I wanted to do a quick piece of content on something I watched on AEW Dynasty that I just didn't want to wait for this week's pod. So I saw one of the stupidest finishes to a match that I've seen in my nearly 40 years of watching pro wrestling. So this was in the Chris Jericho Bandido match. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a part late in the match where Brian Keith comes out to help Jericho. And Gravity does the same, goes after Brian Keith. Another referee, Aubrey Edwards, comes out to try to break that up. And this distracts the referee that's in the match, Bryce Remsburg. Jericho takes advantage of the ref's back being turned. He nails Bandido with the baseball bat. And eventually the ref turns around and counts 1, 2, 3. Jericho is retaining the ROH title, and Bandido has to unmask. But before that happens, they cut to the family of Bandido sitting front row, and they are arguing to Aubrey Edwards that Jericho used the bat and he has it hidden between the steps and the ring post. And here's where the fucking train goes off the tracks. Number one, Aubrey Edwards did not see Jericho use the bat as she was dealing with Keith and Gravity. Number two, Aubrey Edwards was not the referee in the match. She has no authority on the result of this match. Number three, Aubrey then allows Bandido's family to go over the barricade to help point out where the bat is hidden. Not that it matters. I mean, who cares if there's a bat there? You didn't see him use it. And I'm sorry if you're a ref and you're just taking Bandido's family's word that Jericho used the bat. That's not an unbiased, impartial fan with no stake in the result. This is Bandido's family. Of course they want him to win, and they'll say Jericho cheated, whether he did or not. And finally, number four, Aubrey, she finds the bat. She calls over the actual ref of the match, Bryce Remsburg, and presumably says, Bandido's family says that Jericho used this bat. Again, remember, neither of them saw Jericho use the bat. And Bryce Remsburg presumably goes, oh, really? Okay, let's restart the match. Good idea. So they restart the match, and Bandido wins the title, and he keeps his mask. Never have I ever in my 40 years of wrestling, nearly 40 years of watching wrestling, have I seen not just one, but two refs who did not see something happen, and they just decide to take the fans' word for it and make a change in a decision. You know, it'd be one thing if Aubrey saw Jericho use the bat, and after the match went to Bryce, pointed it out, and like the match restarts. All right, you know, that's a bit annoying, but that's fine, no biggie. But the refs just changed the decision based on fans in the front row who have a desired interest in seeing one of the competitors win. That was some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen. So who's to blame for this garbage? I mean, you got to go to Tony Khan, of course, which TK, how the hell did you think this was a good idea? And they just like threw all the rules of wrestling out the window and just let fans tell the ref to change the result of the match. There had to be a better way to get the title onto Bandido than that. And I also wonder, you know, what was Chris Jericho thinking? Of course, you know, I don't know if Chris protested this idea for a finish, or maybe even this was his idea. I don't know. But I'd hope that a legend like Jericho, who's seen and done it all in the business, would hear about this finish and go, hey, Tony, I don't know if that's going to work. Let's try something else instead. But instead, we got one of the worst finishes I can ever remember. So I guess in conclusion, I mean, I just couldn't believe what I just watched. I did what any loser wrestling fan does. I went on Twitter to voice my displeasure. Guilty. I even made sure Dave fucking Meltzer knew that he couldn't sugarcoat that shit. All right, I had reached my boiling point with what I just saw. I'll have some more thoughts on AEW Dynasty on this week's pod, but if you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments what you thought of the Jericho Bandido referee situation. Feel free to share, like, subscribe. We will talk to you later this week, and as always, enjoy wrestling.